Welcome to the Swing Set. Climb on up, there is always a swing available. On Life on the Swing Set, the podcast, we explore ethically non-monogamous relationships, the pleasures and passions, the promise and pitfalls. We discuss all aspects of ethical non-monogamy in a fun, open, and welcoming fashion, with a gleam in our eye, a bounce in our step, our hands down your pants. Ooh, sorry, got ahead of myself. We may be biased. In fact, we most certainly are. But we don't sugarcoat, and each of us speaks honestly and earnestly about our thoughts, ideas, and experiences throughout our very own lives on the swing set. Thanks for swinging by.
Hey everybody, Dylan here. We don't have a regular episode scheduled for the next 3, maybe 4 weeks. I don't know exactly how long it's going to be. I know that I told everybody on Twitter and in a blog post on Life on the Swing Set that I was going to take a couple months break away from being a co-host of Life on the Swing Set. And I can tell you that I've been under an extreme amount of stress in my personal life, and that I have had this idea to build a real community for people that listen to Life on the Swing Set, people that listen to any of the other swingset.fm podcasts, people that are looking for a place to talk that doesn't necessarily want their real names associated with their handles, that also happens to be specifically open to hard discussions about open sexuality, alternative lifestyles, whatever, alternative community or sexual minority you happen to be a member of. I want to build our site into a place where you can come and be and talk the way you want to, and meet other people that want to do the same. And to do that work, it's going to take me some time. Not just me. I mean, there are a couple other fans of the Swing Set that are going to put significant amounts of time into this, and I promise you I will thank them greatly. Damien being one of them. But this is the kind of thing that in the 6 years of putting out Life on the Swing Set, originally every 2 weeks and then once a week, and then still traveling to conferences and paradise in between, that we haven't done a lot of. We haven't done a lot of the kind of ground up foundation building work that we probably should have. And I say that because I feel a real need to connect with people that way, and I find that there are limited ways to do it if you happen to not be in the same physical location with people. And even when you happen to be in the same physical location with people, you can't always find safe spaces to do that kind of thing. And it's one of my personal missions to create that kind of space here in the good old suburbs of Chicago, and to kind of extend that into the online world. I see a need for it. I want to try and help create that. And so that's the kind of thing I'm going to do over the next couple of months or so, in addition to some other things. But I don't want to speak to anybody else's stress on the swing set. Cooper has been running ragged and has a lot of projects that he's doing on his own. And that's added to, his general feelings of just feeling burnt out. Ginger has a lot of stuff going on, and has wanted to spend more time on the swing set and hasn't been able to. And Katie Mack's going through a bit of a rough time right now, and because we have the three of us, Cooper and Ginger and I, have had to move schedules around based on our own lives, it's been hard for Katie Mack to meet that because she has a life and she's not used to our scheduling craziness. And of course, all that revolves around scheduling guests and regular record nights, and it's become a lot. We need a break.
I remember fondly those childhood days of warm weather breezes, grassy meadows, and flying back and forth on that wooden bench with chain link handles. How relaxing it was to listen to the birds and the wind against my ears, while trying to stretch as far as possible to get higher and higher. Oh wait, not that kind of swinging. Hi, my name's Morgan. My husband Cole and I found our early ventures into swinging to be a far cry from that brazy wooden swing. It took us a couple years of practice to discover that happy place of relaxation. When we were first exploring the lifestyle, it was not low stress for us. Actually, it was quite the opposite. First, it was stressful creating our profile for the websites. Do we use face pictures? My body's not what it used to be. Should we take sexy pictures? Should we take sexy naked pictures? Do we need to trim Cole's lower back hair? I was self-conscious about my body. I didn't know what I wanted yet, so writing the blurbs was difficult. Putting ourselves out there with our wants and desires was outside of our comfort zone. Add to that our issues with working out details amongst each other. My husband of 6 years and I had come to terms with what we wanted out of swinging together. We had come up with our rules. Do we want to stay together in the same room? Do we want to allow hall passes? We knew we wanted more than soft swap right out of the gate, and we were both very comfortable with each other and not terribly jealous. But while getting to those decisions was definitely a bonding activity and enjoyable, it was far from stress-free. So we get our completed profile with pictures. Oh my God, our faces are on a swinging website. I'm freaked out a little, but we start searching anyway, and searching, until we find people that we think are attractive and similar to us in values. No teabaggers, please. Well, wait a minute. No right-wing conservatives, please. We like ball sucking. Ball sucking is good. So we message people. We message a lot of people. It seemed as if it took dozens of messages just to get 1 or 2 replies. Then after we communicated with potential couples and we set up a meeting, it was also kind of stressful. My stomach would churn with nervousness. Will they like us? What will they be like? Will they be sexy? Will they smell good? What if we don't smell good? What if they don't like us? What if they do like us, but we don't have the moves? Eventually that meeting takes place, and after the awkward greetings, we're usually not feeling so anxious. We're able to enjoy our company and decide if there's chemistry. But chemistry or not, just being in their presence usually puts a calm over me. My happy place is being in the company of what I coin as my people. Whether they are new friends we just met, or people we've fucked several times. My people are those who don't judge, don't question, and accept differences with love and acceptance. Just being in the presence of these people relaxes me. I don't have to deal with my inner voices worrying about people judging me because I don't believe that anyone is. Now, there's no doubt that when I plan a large party, they can be stressful right out of the gate. But I believe knowing that at the end of all that organization, the snack buying, the marketing, the cleaning and decorating, at the end of all that lies the beginning of the night and my reward, bringing my sexy people together. I'll give you a snippet from my last little gathering. It's 1 a.m., and I'm in our small 4-person hot tub with Cole and 4 sexy friends. The water is overflowing a bit, and to limit it, some of us stand up. We do what it takes to keep 6 beautiful naked people together. Cocktail glasses are wet with condensation. The sky is clear and starry beyond our large, bare maple tree. It's February, and the temperature outside is chilly, but it feels so nice. There's random touching and nervous smiles since some of us are less familiar with others. By this time I've gotten quite tipsy and am quite comfortable. The hot tub is making some of us a bit weak, and we want to save our energy, so we decide to get out. We grab a towel and walk naked through the cold chill of the night, across the dew-covered deck and through the sliding glass doors into the kitchen. I'm loving the touch of less familiar hands, kisses from delicious mouths, and cuddles. Eager hands start exploring more, and we all gravitate to the mattress I laid out in front of the fireplace just a few hours earlier. Towels are dropped, and I find myself kissing Turner's lovely fuzzy face. He groans as I stroke his hard cock. He nuzzles my neck and reaches for my wet pussy. He lifts up my legs while laying me on the mattress so gracefully, although I was tipsy so I wouldn't know the difference. His wife, Lexi, is already on her back next to me, and Cole is thoroughly enjoying her mound with his tongue. I reach my hands over to her beautiful pierced breasts and stroke them while Turner buries his face in my pussy. Just being here, in this place where everyone enjoys the bodies of everyone else, is so calming and loving. Everyone flows together in this magical pile of bodies. It's like time slows down and I deeply feel every slight brush of skin. I hear every sharp breath of ecstasy so clearly. Things escalate gradually. I find my mouth on her breast, circling the barbells with my tongue. I travel up her collarbone to her sweet, soft mouth and I kiss her. She gives her cute little giggle because Cole is bringing her closer. I shift my attention to Turner's firm cock. He just begs for a warm mouth, and I satiate his desire. I love the way he tastes and the silly sounds he makes when my tongue tickles under his head. I'm feeling hands on me too and enjoying the touch, not caring who it might be. Eventually, I ache for a hard cock inside me. I reach for the condom and look at Turner, waiting for the affirmation in his eyes that he's okay to move forward. I get it, and I rip that package open and quickly slide the condom on him. I spin around and pop my ass up in the air, hoping he'll do me from behind. He buries himself in me, and we start rocking the mattress. I look over to see that Cole and Lexi have mirrored us at this point, and we all start getting a little louder. After we're all satiated, we lay flat, all holding one another. This right here is probably the most relaxed I have ever been in my life. Just laying here, post-coital, tired but giddy, and in so much adoration of our lovers. This is my swinger stress relief. This is what I've waited for through my long work week. This. I want to lay here until I pass out. This feels absolutely amazing. So in short, to get to the stress relief, I believe it takes a lot of preparation to get comfortable in the lifestyle to even begin using it as a stress reliever. So now that we have sexy friends that we see fairly often, we find great joy and stress relief in setting dates with them. When our regular sexy friends come over for a visit, it's so easy to set up. They don't care if our house is spotless or that it took them 45 minutes to drive here. We got their favorite drinks in the fridge already, and the hot tub cover is off. When they walk over the threshold of our front porch and give us their warm embrace, it's like nothing else matters.
I spend, we all do, but I spend an enormous amount of time thinking about just, not just work for the swing set, but work in our communities, work in the larger activist community, doing things. And, I have I am closeted, and I have an independent life outside of this. I mean, you all know Dylan Thomas. As much as it is very real to me, as much as that name and identity is very, very real to me and to all of you, it's not my given name. I made a choice really early on that sometimes I regret, to go with a pseudonym. And so there's this tug of war that happens sometimes between areas of the non-swing set, non-open sexuality related life that pull at me all the time. And these forces fight against each other. And it creates a lot of stress in me. It's not a terrible thing to have a lot of great things to do in life or a lot of great people that might pull on you. And so, it's kind of a first world problem to say, oh, there are so many things I love in life. I have a good life right now. I'm not complaining about the life. But being closeted has also afforded me a layer of protection against potential consequences of me being out sexually. Yeah, I'm a straight dude. I also like fucking other women. And I have a wife that likes fucking other women, and that makes her bisexual. And we like participating in group orgies. We like being around queer people. We like specifically reaching out to people that are different than us and being sexy with them. It's a thing that we do. And it's a thing that society is not ready for and does not understand and would actively shame us for and make sure we knew it for. I believe that I'm in a place right now in life where I could probably come out or be outed and be relatively safe. It would cause some consternation, but it wouldn't take my livelihood away. It wouldn't take my house away. It wouldn't take my child away. It would be a massive inconvenience. That's not the same for everybody that we talk to here on the swing set, or that we talk with here on the swing set, or in real life, or anywhere else that we do this. There's this term I heard recently. I've been trying to define the wider community that we belong in, or that I believe that we should all feel like we belong in. A community that includes LGBTQ, a community that includes poly, swinger, and kink people. I've been kind of sort of calling it alternative sexuality, open sexuality, something like that, but somebody called it sexual minorities. We're all sexual minorities. Being a minority, being Latino, I didn't know if that connected to me right away, but it seemed to fit. And so it's the best language I have to describe the umbrella of everybody that I just talked about. And the reason I feel strongly that we all kind of belong to a larger community is because we're all vulnerable in the same way. In a way that you might not realize. When we started doing this podcast, we focused on swinging. And swinging is very largely dominated by white, suburban, affluent couples. And that's not a problem. It's great. It's wonderful. And I am proud. I'm proud to call myself a swinger. I haven't always been. I struggled with that term for a long time. But I say that I'm a swinger without shame. I say that I'm a lot of other things without shame. But specifically, I'm happy to be a swinger. And when I say I'm a swinger to somebody that sees swingers as white, suburban, affluent, privileged people, sometimes I get a little talk back about it. And I take time to explain to people, like, I understand where a majority of my my national community, or North American community, whatever you're going to call it, because I don't know enough about swingers around the world to really speak to them, but I can speak to swingers in Canada and the United States, so I'll do that. I speak about that. I speak about us doing it both without shame and with the knowledge that there are other people that have laid the groundwork for us doing this. One of my personal missions is that I try not to forget that there are other people that have laid the work for us to be able to do this. Many of those people are in vulnerable positions in life, or vulnerable populations, whether it's income status, whether it's race, whether it's sexual identity. There are people out there that have traditionally been able to hide, but when they get outed, become oppressed people. They lose their livelihoods, they lose their kids, they lose their jobs, and they become pariahs, and then they have to move and they have to start over. And it's not just an inconvenience like it would be for me. It becomes a life-changing event, and it takes away from who they are because they have to make a decision. But the thing is, even looking at gay or lesbian people as being potentially able to blend in when they want, that excludes lesbian women of color. That excludes many trans persons. There are people that can't hide. There are people that choose not to hide, that are vulnerable, that are actively targeted by politicians, that are actively targeted by populations, by their own communities, by people that might have loved and respected them until they figured it out, or until something happened. And that includes, in my opinion, minorities. So I'm going to get a little bit political on you for a second, and I'm not going to play the music, because if you've been listening to me for 10 minutes or so, you already know what you're in for. Minorities have been systematically oppressed in this country, the United States, since white people brought them here. That makes them a vulnerable population. Whatever you think about income inequality, crime, culture, anything else that you want to think about it, you can call minorities a vulnerable population because they are not served by the authorities. They are not served by communities. They are not served by our politicians the same way that the default is, the default being white. And there is a natural intersection between many vulnerable communities that has only fairly recently, it hasn't fairly recently been discovered, but it's only fairly recently been put into the larger consciousness, at least here in the United States. This term, intersectionality, means that there is an intersection point between vulnerable populations. I've been thinking about that without the word, but I've been thinking about that for a long time. And I've talked about queering up swinging for a long time, and it's because I had this feeling that, what we are doing as swingers is queering up lifestyles. We're doing something that is threatening to straight, heteronormative couples, especially some religious ones. And that makes it dangerous to them. And so they fight back and they continue to vote for politicians that oppress. They continue to tolerate that behavior in their politicians. And it creates a situation where we're in now. There are more people now than ever, I think, that understand that. And there's more progress being made to solve that than there has been in a long time. But as a result of that, there is more of a pendulum swing back to fighting against it. And so we see that in one moment, thanks to the Supreme Court, marriage equality for couples happens. But then in the next breath, we see trans persons targeted in North Carolina. And just today in Mississippi, they rapidly passed a bill targeting not just the LGBT community, but the expanded open sexuality community. We used to have sodomy laws everywhere in the country, and they were legal. And they're clearly unconstitutional now. They still stay on the books in some places, but some of them, longer than others. But there are these laws that target more than just the target populations that are going through, and this is one of them. This is one of those laws that targets adulterers, single people that have sex with other single people, potentially married people that have sex with other married people. And that puts us all in the crosshairs. And on some level, we've always all been in the crosshairs, because you know what? If our neighbors found out that we were swingers, that would be a problem. It would make them uncomfortable. We'd have to have some hard conversations. We might get shunned. It might get out. Bad things might happen. But again, to me, that's an inconvenience. But having a law passed that specifically targets your behavior and allows businesses, landowners, homeowners, rental property owners to discriminate against you based on the criteria laid out in a law means that all of a sudden this stops becoming an inconvenience for swingers in Mississippi. This becomes a life-changing event for swingers in Mississippi, because all of a sudden they can lose where they live. They can lose their livelihoods. All of a sudden, the only thing stopping their lives from being affected, the same way as every other vulnerable population, is the fact that they're closeted. And I hate that sometimes it takes direct action against somebody to cause them to fight back against something. But this might be one of those times. This is fucking crazy. I don't care where you lie on the political spectrum. If you happen to be those conservative Republicans that Cooper always likes to talk about, if you happen to be more on the progressive end of things, if it doesn't really matter. What's happening now transcends the boundaries of normal political discourse, at least in the United States. What's happening now is a bald-faced, out-and-out, behind the veil or beyond the pale attack on sexual minorities. The last few years, there have been a ton of voter suppression laws that have gone on the books that target minorities, right? But they've always been able to hide behind the veil of respectability that saying that they're combating voter fraud affords them. And again, I think we all know that we don't like voter fraud, but we all should know that there is functionally zero voter fraud in the United States. Okay, that's still something that we can debate, and it is something that there is empirical evidence to bring forward about. When these voter fraud laws get passed, it is proven, it is fact, it is recorded, it is unassailable that minority populations lose significant amounts of their ability to vote. And voter fraud does not decrease. And the counties and the municipalities and the states that spend more money on voter fraud prevention measures don't actually catch people committing or attempting to commit voter fraud. They don't work. But again, targeting minority populations, targeting vulnerable populations with the veil of respectability still happens. And it sucks, but there's a veil of respectability there. These particular bills, the North Carolina bill and the Mississippi bill, there is no veil of respectability there. They are hiding behind fear of what they don't understand. Their main focus is, oh my gosh, maybe a man saying that he's a woman will go into a women's restroom and assault my children or my women. That's the fear. And I understand that people tend to hate and attack things they fear. So there's an education component here that has to happen. Not that there's a lack of people trying to educate, but people have to be open to listen in order to be educated sometimes. So I understand that part. But the actual laws that are being written, again, they're targeting a vulnerable population, but they don't have that veil of respectability there because they are not saying we're going to try and prevent sexual assault by making bathrooms safer, by installing enhanced security systems, or putting cameras in bathrooms, which is something that we could have a legitimate debate about. What they're saying is that you must go to the bathroom in the bathroom assigned to your gender. And they define gender specifically. And it is specifically exclusionary. It is a specific attack on trans persons. There is no veil of respectability here because as much as they want to say that they're doing this to, protect the children and the women, there is no way to justify defining gender by genitalia without specifically attacking people that do not fall under people that fit gender and genitalia. It's the same kind of potential law that politicians like Ted Cruz and Donald Trump are proposing to target Muslim populations. Again, people can have significant worry about terrorism, significant worry about refugees, and they can legislate all sorts of stuff about that and say, oh, it's just to protect the country. But once you start skipping the actual verbal gymnastics that you use to try and give something a veil of respectability and just start saying, let's just target all the Muslims, or let's just keep all the Mexicans out, or let's keep all the trannies out of the bathrooms, it's specifically exclusionary. And right now, we are in a situation, we as swingers, we as non-monogamous people are being targeted. Even if our behavior wasn't being targeted, which it is in Mississippi, many of our community members' identities are. Again, we have an overabundance of bi women in the swing lifestyle. And there are many, many bisexual and pansexual persons in the poly lifestyle. We are all being targeted, and we should have paid attention a long time ago to the plight of minority communities, and we should have paid attention a long time ago to the plight of trans persons. And we haven't done a great job of doing that. And now that they are coming for us, what do? So I'm not telling you to go out and vote Democrat. I'm not telling you to become super politically active. But what I am telling you to do is pay attention, because you're vulnerable now. And maybe you should start reading about how other people have dealt with being vulnerable. And maybe if you happen to be, and happen to have the privilege of, being white and suburban and affluent, maybe you can use your current position of closeted privilege to lend your support to people who don't have that privilege. Start listening to Black queer women. Start listening to Muslim activists on the street. Start listening to people that you normally wouldn't listen to. And figure out how you can support them. And if you do start becoming politically active, if you do start activating some of your own activism tendencies, remember that we're all fundamentally fighting for many of the same things. Let's call it equality. Let's call it equity. There are a million other terms for what many of us are seeking. But the bottom line is we all want to be treated like people. We all want to be left alone to love who we want to love, to fuck who we want to fuck, and to live the way we want. And there is a broad spectrum of people out there that believe in those principles without agreeing on politics, without agreeing on anything else. But we can still support the people that are vulnerable and live the lives that we have right now. And there are a lot of us. We can be part of a larger community and be successful at protecting each other. So that's what I want you to think about. It's important. It's happening right now. We're all being targeted. And we can all do something about it. This is episode 247, and this is going out on April 6th, Wednesday. And I give you the date because we were actually going to put out an April Fool's episode. We didn't do that. We really wanted to. I had some great ideas. We did Loin on the Swine set last year, and I fucking love that. I wanted to turn this episode of Life on the Swing Set, I wanted to put it out on April 1st. And I wanted it to be an NPR pledge drive. We have often faded into NPR obscurity on the podcast, whether accidentally or purposefully imitating Ira Glass, whether going into pledge drive mode when we talk about our Patreon, whatever it is. And by the way, that Patreon's at lifeontheswingset.com/tip. We have all kind of professed our love for different NPR radio personalities. And that's not by mistake. We really love NPR here. And so we wanted to both pay tribute to it and make fun of it a little, because there are some NPR tropes that are kind of just hilarious. We all were going to record individual things. Cooper actually came through the most on this. I asked him to record something that was 100% him, even if it's poetry. And he took me at my word and recorded a bunch of poetry in Cooper's voice. You know what I'm talking about. And it's pretty good, and I want to find a place to put it. But we were tired, and we didn't have much left. And I hate coming to you from that position of lack of energy, from that kind of position of vulnerability, that not having energy and wanting to do right by people puts you in. But that's where we are right now. And again, I said earlier, I don't apologize for it. It just is what it is, and so we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back at all of you when we're at our best. But, until then, Cooper isn't the programmer anymore, and I am, so I'm taking over and saying whatever the fuck I want. And I'm not going to do this every week or anything like that. I'm just talking because I want you all to know what's going on, both with our lives and, honestly, in some of the things that are weighing down on us deeply. Like I was talking about a little earlier. It's hard. It's hard seeing your friends go down. It's hard seeing people that you work with get attacked. It's hard to deal with everyday life and still come here with all the energy we want to come here with and do it to entertain all of you and do it to educate all of you. It's hard. I think you'll understand. So, as always, you can find us and like us on facebook.com/theswingset. You can check out this podcast, daily blogs, articles, and toy reviews on our website at lifeontheswingset.com and on our site's Twitter feed at ontheswingset. Send us an email at contact@lifeontheswingset.com, and you can leave us a voicemail. And I really do love voicemails at 573-55-SWING. That's 573-557-9464. Don't forget to buy your condoms from the Lucky Bloke at swingsetcondoms.com. And please don't forget to visit our Patreon page to throw us a buck or 10 every time we release an episode at lifeontheswingset.com/support. You can find our other great podcasts, and I do mean great podcasts like the Gentle Pervert Social Club, Intellectual Foreplay, Sex at a Go-Go, Tell Me Something Good, and the Don't Panic podcast at swingset.fm. Finally, you can buy Cooper's novel about swinging, A Life Less Monogamous, at alifelessmonogamous.com, or his memoir, My Life on the Swing Set, Adventures in Swinging and Polyamory, at mylifeontheswingset.com. Both are available as an ebook, paperback, or audiobook, and if you buy them from his site, use the promo code SWINGSET to save 10%. Thanks for giving me your ear, and thanks for swinging by.
Have a sexy business? Love the Swing Set? Let's put these two great things together. The Swing Set Network has advertising and sponsorship packages available for our websites and podcasts. Email advertising at lifeontheswingset.com for more information. Thanks.
Hi, this is Princess Callie, author of Enough to Make You Blush and founder of kinkacademy.com. You're listening to a Swing Set podcast at swingset.fm.